It is 3:14 in the morning. Your eyes open in the dark. Before you even turn your head to look at the glowing numbers on the clock on your nightstand, you feel it. That heavy, undeniable, deeply familiar pressure sitting low in your abdomen. You throw off the warm covers, you put your bare feet on the cold floor, and you make that exact same frustrating walk down the dark hallway that you just made at 1 o'clock. And deep down in your gut, you will probably make it again at 5. You navigate the house carefully, feeling your way along the walls, terrified of tripping in the shadows. A single fall at night is one of the quickest ways to a devastating hip fracture. And you know it. When you finally climb back into bed, the physical relief just doesn't last. Your mind starts racing. You stare up at the ceiling, doing the brutal mental math on exactly how many hours of sleep you have left before the sun comes up. You know tomorrow is already ruined. You are going to wake up with a thick, heavy brain fog. You will have a short temper with your spouse or your grandchildren, and you will carry a deep, systemic exhaustion that forces you to sit out on the absolute best parts of your day. You skip the morning walk. You don't have the physical energy for your hobbies. You just try to survive until evening. If this relentless, exhausting cycle is your daily reality, I need you to hear me right now. I need you to truly internalize this. This isn't a moral failure. It isn't something you did wrong by having a small glass of water with dinner. And it is absolutely not just normal aging that you are supposed to quietly put up with. You have probably sat in a doctor's office, exhausted, vulnerable, and desperate for real answers. You waited 45 minutes in a cold lobby, got a rushed 10-minute consultation, and walked out with a piece of paper, a prescription for an overactive bladder pill, or a daily prostate medication. They tell you your bladder is just getting old. They say the muscle is shrinking, or it's spasming uncontrollably. They act like this is just the inevitable price you pay for getting older. But what they rarely take the time to explain is the severe, life-altering collateral damage of those medications. Many of the most heavily prescribed bladder pills on the market belong to a class of drugs called anticholinergics. They work by chemically paralyzing the nerve signals going down into your pelvis. But here is the truly terrifying part that you deserve to know. Those drugs do not just stay in your bladder. They cross the blood-brain barrier. They go right into your brain and actively block a chemical called acetylcholine. That is the exact neurotransmitter your brain desperately needs to form new memories, process complex thoughts, and keep you sharp. By taking a daily pill just to stop a nighttime bathroom trip, you are actively trading your memory for a few hours of dry sleep. You are artificially accelerating your own cognitive decline. There is a better way, and it starts with a profound clinical truth the modern, highly segmented medical system often completely misses. For the vast majority of adults over the age of 60, there is absolutely nothing structurally wrong with your bladder. It is perfectly healthy. It is highly elastic. It is doing exactly what human biology built it to do. Your bladder is just a storage tank. The problem isn't the tank. The problem is the invisible, highly pressurized supply line that is violently flooding that tank while you are completely unconscious. So, what is actually happening in the dark? To find out, we have to look completely away from your kidneys and your urinary tract. We have to look at what your cardiovascular system and your blood are doing while you are awake and moving around during the day. As you sit at your desk, as you stand in your kitchen preparing meals, or as you relax in your favorite living room chair, the invisible force of gravity is relentlessly pulling down on your entire body. When we are young, the tiny valves inside our leg veins are incredibly tight. They act like perfect one-way doors, pumping heavy blood effortlessly back up to the chest and the heart. But as the decades pass, those vascular walls naturally lose a tiny bit of their youthful snap. They get just a little bit loose. Because of this, microscopic amounts of free water and blood plasma slowly leak out of your veins. This fluid doesn't just vanish into thin air, it steadily pools in the soft interstitial tissue of your lower legs, your ankles, and the tops of your feet. Doctors call this dependent edema. I want you to visualize the soft tissue in your lower calves like a thick, dry kitchen sponge. All day long, hour after hour, it is slowly soaking up heavy water. You might not even notice the swelling. Your shoes might just feel a tiny bit tighter by 5 o'clock in the evening. Your doctor might not even look down at your ankles during your annual physical. But the fluid is absolutely there. Gravity trapped it, so what happens to that heavy, trapped fluid when you finally lie down to go to sleep? The sun goes down, you turn off the bedside lamp, and you lie perfectly flat in bed. Suddenly, for the very first time in 16 hours, gravity isn't trapping that water down in your lower extremities anymore. That biological sponge gets squeezed tight. Over your first 2 hours of deep sleep, all that trapped fluid rushes out of your leg tissue and dumps straight back into your main bloodstream. Your central nervous system detects this massive, sudden surge in total blood volume immediately. Your heart starts pumping harder to handle the extra liquid weight. To protect your heart from being dangerously overloaded and physically stretched, your kidneys go into absolute overdrive. They act as your body's ultimate emergency release valve. They frantically filter this excess water out of your blood, sending a relentless flood of brand new urine straight down the ureters and into your bladder. Your bladder isn't weak. It is just overflowing because your kidneys are working a massive night shift to save your heart from fluid overload. But fluid dynamics and gravity are only the first half of the story. There is a second, highly specific, completely invisible trigger happening right inside your chest cavity that forces you awake. Many of us unknowingly breathe through our mouths while we sleep, or we suffer from mild, entirely undiagnosed airway resistance. We snore. We toss and turn. When you breathe against a partially collapsed nasal airway, you have to physically struggle to pull oxygen down into your lungs. This mechanical struggle creates a powerful negative pressure vacuum inside your chest. That vacuum physically pulls and stretches the muscular walls of your heart, believing your entire body is under severe, life-threatening cardiovascular stress. Your heart sounds a chemical alarm. It releases a specific peptide hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide. This hormone travels straight through your blood to your kidneys. It violently commands them to dump sodium and dump water immediately to lower your blood pressure. And because we naturally produce less antidiuretic hormone as we age, your kidneys have no shield against this alarm. Your 3 in the morning bathroom trip isn't just a symptom of aging. It is a brilliant, perfectly executed defense mechanism against a gravitational fluid shift and a false respiratory alarm. Once you deeply understand how your cells and your circulatory system actually work, fixing the root problem becomes incredibly logical. We just have to manage the physical fluid shift before you ever go to sleep, and we have to completely stop that stress hormone from firing while you sleep. And you can do this right at home, entirely for free, without a single prescription pad. First, we have to manually empty the tank while you are still wide awake and conscious. Every single evening, About an hour or two before you plan to turn off the lights and go to sleep, I want you to lie completely flat on your bed or the living room floor. Elevate your legs entirely above the level of your heart. You can rest your heels up against a blank wall, or you can tightly stack 3 or 4 firm pillows directly under your calves. You need to stay in this exact position for a solid 15 to 20 minutes. While you are lying there, slowly point and flex your toes. This inverted posture turns gravity into your greatest medical ally. It forces that trapped fluid out of your legs and pushes it rapidly back into your central bloodstream early. Your kidneys will process that massive fluid volume into urine while you are still awake, reading a book or watching television. You just walk into the bathroom and naturally flush it down the drain before your head ever hits the pillow. Second, we have to stop the fluid from actively pooling in your legs in the first place. Tomorrow morning, the very moment you wake up, before you even start your day or make your coffee, put on a pair of mild 15 to 20 millimeter of mercury graduated compression stockings. These aren't just tight socks. They act as a structural, external wall for your veins. They physically prevent your blood plasma from leaking out of your vessels and into your leg tissues while you are walking, driving, and sitting. If the fluid never pools in your legs during the afternoon, there is absolutely nothing left to flood your kidneys at midnight. You just peel them off right before you get under the covers. Finally, to definitively stop that cardiac stress hormone from waking you up at 3 in the morning, your nasal airway has to stay completely open and unobstructed. Grab a simple, inexpensive, drug-free nasal dilator strip and place it firmly across the bridge of your nose right before bed. It physically props your nasal valves open. This instantly enforces silent, deep nasal breathing and completely stops that negative vacuum from forming in your chest. Your heart stays perfectly calm. The chemical alarm is never triggered, and your kidneys finally get to rest in peace. Now, as an intelligent adult taking full control of your own health trajectory, you need to know the true medical red flags. There is a vast difference between a benign fluid shift and an acute medical emergency. If your nighttime urination starts suddenly out of nowhere, and it comes with a ravenous, unquenchable thirst during the day, that isn't just fluid pooling. That is a severe warning sign for the onset of diabetes, and you need to have a doctor check your blood sugar immediately. If you ever see pink, red, or brown discoloration in your urine, that is an immediate medical emergency, indicating possible infection or malignancy. You cannot ignore that. And if lying flat in bed causes terrifying shortness of breath within just a few minutes, that strongly indicates congestive heart failure. Your fluid is backing up into your lungs, not just your kidneys, and you must seek emergency medical care without delay. But for the vast majority of you watching this right now, you do not have to accept chronic exhaustion as your permanent, inescapable reality. You do not have to rely on memory-stealing bladder medications just to get through the night. By simply understanding the basic physiological laws of gravity, circulation, and oxygen, you can instantly reclaim your sleep architecture. You can violently protect your long-term cognitive health, and you can wake up every single morning feeling incredibly sharp, deeply energized, and fully ready to experience your day. I am deeply curious to know exactly how this specific symptom has impacted your daily life, your mood, and your energy levels over the years. Let me know in the comments below how old you are and exactly where you are watching from tonight. Rest well, fiercely protect your health, and never stop demanding the real, scientific answers you deserve.